And Odyssey, it's all about social media. Social media is a vast world full of thousands of applications, thousands of social networks, information networks such as Twitter. Basically, it's kind of confusing if you're not used to it. This time around, we put up questions on Twitter, and we put up a request asking for questions on Twitter on what you want to find out about social media. And the first question came from Nana Nduati, who asked, what are the trends in use of social media by journalists to mine and disseminate information?
Okay, I think the first thing they can use and should use is Google Alerts.
Quite numerous applications that are used when you're trying to find information to share or want to find out a story. And of course you can find out from the dashboards, social media dashboards that are there, like Hootsuite or TweetDeck, and also there's another application which journalists like using, which is called Storyfy. And with that, of course, you have the benefit of picking on different information, confirm them one twist against another, and pictures as well. And you can quickly mash up that story that you are trying to gather from different locations around the world, around the same hashtag. And you have a story once you have that together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And also, you mentioned Ushahidi. I'm assuming in times of crisis, you're able to map out what's going on the ground from such crowdsourced platforms.
Yes. Okay, what SwiftRiver does, it basically gets information on a specific topic. For instance, if you wanted to know about, if you're a journalist and you wanted to know feedback about a specific story that you're running on your, on the TV station that you work for. For instance, maybe you're talking about drought in Kenya, in Somalia, or something like that.
Right.
So you're able to mine that information from social media, find out what people are talking about, what people are saying about that particular thing. Yes.
Okay. Well, you have your paid options and you also have your free options when it comes to data mining solutions. What are some of the free ones and what are some of the paid solutions?
Okay, there are limitations there because mostly what is free is usually basic. And someone said, if you're not paying for a product, then you're the one who's being sold, which means that part of what they potentially give is what you're sharing, is what you're tweeting. So basic tweets, but what monetization, where they make their money and in return they end up charging you is where they have to visualize that information you're trying to request. So that's mostly some of the aspects or the features that they sell. So visualization in terms of reports you want to churn, and also there is the number of tweets that you want to deal with. So some of them they can limit to how many tweets you want to consider, or when you're doing your mining or trying to get a report out of it. So they have different features that usually have packages. So all these social media dashboards also they have their pricing or packages that are attached to the same product are using to tweet and post anything on either Twitter or Facebook. So it's one of the either of them can able to give you any of that solution that may be willing to.
Okay. When it comes to, that would be the marketing end of it. Mainly, that's where businesses would profit from, and also if you're looking at building your personal brand. When it comes to journalism, do you think that the anonymity that the internet offers is also a plus in getting information?
Well, you see, okay, when you get information, especially when you're mining, you're not how do I put it? You don't need to put yourself out there. All you need is a platform.
Let's say in investigative journalism, if I wanted information, let's say maybe even on the Mungiki, would I have a hashtag, and then since people are able to be anonymous online, they're able to contribute the information more easily as opposed to offline, where my identity will be tracked down to an SMS I may have sent, a meeting point that we came to, etc.
I was assuming that when you're mining for this data that it already exists. But in that case, yes, anonymity does help because of course people don't volunteer such sensitive, or don't want to volunteer such sensitive information on accounts that can be traced. For instance, an account that has your name. So yes, anonymity helps in that case.
There's something else if I may add to that, because I think when, if I'm not wrong, when you say mining, you're searching for different sentiments, or depending on a topic that either be guided by a hashtag or a specific account of the person identified who's tweeting or posting this information. So there are some advantages and disadvantages of anonymity, because as much as privacy is very important, for a journalist we need authentication of specific information as much as we need to have much more of it. So it's a choice where you need to have more tweets or more content as opposed to having quality content, which of course can undermine maybe the essence of maybe doing that research or whatever you'll be maybe looking for. So there are different objectives I think we need to consider when you're still also doing mining. And I think also that comes to the fact that actually I wouldn't recommend using one source to mine information. Also, just like as a search engine, it's not recommended that we only use one, because the different formulas are used when they're digging for information. So it's a way also of checking. So the different sources you may use, the better for you also to assert that this information matches this other one. So in the end, I think it's good to consider variety of options when you're mining.
And like you said, of course, information from people that you trust, you whatever, it has more weight than from sources that and from people that you don't trust. Let's say not trust from
credibility.
Yes, from credible people. Yes.
How do you measure return on investment in terms of time spent, in terms of money spent? Because with social media there's the aspect of your time with what you'd consider free avenues such as Facebook and Twitter, but when it comes to paid adverts on your Google ads and your Facebook ads, etc., how do you measure your return on investment on both?
Okay, I'll give an example. I had a campaign.
The return on investment is always also, I'll go back to strategy. I think it's very important for people to understand that they need a strategy, they need to have a reason as to why they are online. And maybe another thing I wanted to consider is the fact that not being online does not mean that guys are not talking about you. So there's things to always be aware of, and I think also it's knowing that not being there also costs you at the end of the day. Another thing to say is the fact that it's not free. Social media is not free, as much as guys can easily tweet and post and whatever it is. There is a lot of time that is always put into it, and of course it should be beyond tweeting for someone, as the kind of investment which is being put out there. There's the language that you have to have, and there's the objectives that have to be very clear. You have to determine if you want to add more people who maybe are not necessarily going to buy from your stories, or you want to add people who are likely to buy from your whatever info you're sharing with them, whether it's a product you're trying to push on, information you want feedback on. So it's very important also to know what kind of crowd you're pulling as followers, because when you're talking about brand leadership, you may want to know that also the kind of people who are following or who are interested in what you're doing, also they get value in terms of content, and you're having the best representation for both the product and the service you're trying to offer. So there are different ways, different things to consider when you think about the return on investment.
I think as far as return on investment is concerned, I think the first thing to consider is your objective. Okay, what are you working towards? And after, let's say after a specific time, have you
achieved?
Yes. Have you achieved what you wanted to achieve? Okay, fine. You've put in this. You put in this number of hours. What have you achieved at the end of the day? I have an example. I had this campaign. I told people I usually have a monthly event. So I told people sign up for a newsletter or follow me on Twitter. and you'll get a discounted, you'll get you get discounted tickets, and I was able to get, I think, 250 followers, and I got sign-ups. I got, I think, 150 sign-ups on the newsletter. So yes, for the time I put in that campaign, that is what I was able to get, and I was looking at 100 for both. So I think you know, I got okay, that how do I put it? I am, at least my return on investment was what I expected.
Well, maybe if I can add on maybe a scenario also, like for the other event we had the day, social media day in Kenya. I think for a week we managed to get reach from Twitter alone over 60,000 people knowing about it. This excluding any emails you have sent or post on Twitter and on Facebook rather. Or YouTube views you have likely seen, and we are able also to see who contributed the most to our conversation with a specific hashtag. And part of what actually I think also motivated us also is the feedback, and I think through all those responses that are coming in, we are trying to monitor if people really understand what we're trying to share out there, and I think it also becomes a motivation if you've gone off the track. And also another thing, when you're doing also a campaign, the benefits of doing a campaign online, social media, I can easily tell when my point has been taken out of context, and I can able to rectify that very quickly, as opposed to print, where if I printed a million newspapers, you know, I have to deal with it as they come and can't change that. But online, you have a better sense of knowing of tracking how your campaign is performing, and I think money-wise, you're able to manage how your money is spent. So if you care about your dollar, I think you'll be taken care of if you have a person who's able to tell the context in which that information is being shared and the feedback which is coming with it.
I think also, just to add on to what you've said, one unique aspect of social media is once you have a follower, you have them. Once you have a like, you have them, unless you somehow eventually along the way end up bowing them and they unfollow you or they unlike your page. So for that amount that you've spent at that time for that campaign, you're holding on to this person for a longer time. So it's a greater return on investment if you look at it in that sense.
And maybe something also to chip in is the fact that also there are some services that can actually tell you, if you think about the number of followers you may have, what time you should tweet to them, what time they'll be awake. Because don't forget, these followers are in any part of the world, and you have different different time zones, and you can able to tell when you should tweet more or less, and also you can able to plan and automate maybe the times in which these tweets or whatever information you're posting are going to be sharing. So different, and also you can able to track the kind of interest in which, you know, what they're interested in, and also helps in terms of knowing already what audience actually having out there and what you should be considering sharing with them. And also I think in terms of keeping your followers or interesting new followers and people to follow you, I think also it always has to be content. And the best about this, the best thing about this platform is the fact that you know it's level. You don't have to be rich, don't have to be black or white to participate. So I think it's a good way of also getting kind of a level, playing field, for everyone to share.
Okay, moving along, Navraj asks, what are the examples of social media limitations and perhaps even failure?
With social media, you have to be interested. When you're pushing your content, okay, you can't always push your content like all the time. What happens is people follow you because they want you to engage them, and they probably want to hear your story. They want to see how things work in your world, whether you're an individual brand or it's a company, And I think what some people going the wrong way. Since it's a company, all they do is sell. I think as far as that's concerned, you're supposed to be interesting. Share a quote now and then, share something interesting. Be okay, fine. You're tweeting. You probably you may be tweeting us from from a company account, but be interesting. That's what people like. Yes.
What would you say?
I think the first thing is the fact that, you know, for you to be online, you need to have, again, a reason, and also you have to understand what you're getting into. You cannot afford just to do it now and then wait 2 months or 1 week and do it. It requires sustainability, so you have to look also sustenance of activity. Otherwise, you're losing the whole point of being online. Another thing I think is context in which of the information you're sharing, because you know, it's about language, and you have to understand where this person is speaking from for you to provide a better feedback, and ethics in terms of if you should delete a tweet or comment, whatever it is on Facebook, whatever, and the implication of that. So you have to really understand that you're dealing with large waters. You have to swim in, and you have to have good knowledge of how to deal with that, you know, with that. So they are different, and also if you think about also the fact that, you know, when one of the tweets, you know, I can easily retweet his story instead of owning that story, you know, and I think it's also a way of understanding that he discovered that, and, you know, I'm just not, you know, giving him thumbs up by retweeting and showing that, you know, it's his statement, not my statement. So I think, and it's a nice way of also looking at our own selves, own identity, what are we really doing, how human can we be, how human can we be by not doing, you know, the little things that everyone depends on every day.